Hello, I'm Locky. This is the first in a series of videos sharing my tips for academic writing. These tips follow both academic and industrial conventions and can be applied to most progress reports, technical reports, and even journal articles. In this video, we are counting down my top 10 tips for mastering the use of figures. Let's begin. Number 10. We should always ask for the permission to reuse, reproduce, or adapt someone else's images before using them. For example, this particular diagram I used in my PhD thesis was taken from a journal article. I actually wrote to the author and requested his permission. If you don't want to wait, you can also use copyright-free or royalty-free images that are available online. Google has an excellent search tool that allows you to search images based on usage rights. Just choose the type that fits your purpose. As simple as that. Alternatively, there are a number of royalty-free images hosting sites where you can download great royalty-free images too. But whichever way you obtain those images, don't forget to cite the sources in the figure captions and include the source in the reference list. Number 9. This image is a bit too small, and we should enlarge it. But exactly how large is enough? There is no standard answer for this question, but from my personal experience, the most common smallest font size I have seen in journal articles is about 9 points, Times New Romans. Based on this observation, I would say the smallest image size should be as large as the smallest detail you want the readers to see. Number 8. Sometimes, after enlarging an image like this diagram, the original texts within the diagram may be blurred. When this happens, you may want to consider adding your own annotations. In this case, I am adding annotations to overlay the original texts in the enlarged diagram. Annotations are also useful for highlighting parts of the diagram that you want the readers to focus on. To make sure that all the annotations will move with the image, you should hold Ctrl key and select all the text boxes, then right-click and select Group. Then, make sure that you click the top right corner icon and check if Move with Text is selected. Lastly, confirm by moving your image around. Number 7. While the position of figure captions may differ, it is generally placed below the figures using a font size smaller than that of the body text. Normally, I prefer to use insert caption to help me keep track of the figure numbers so that I don't need to. A caption should include a description, the source, and a post-editing comment, if you have edited it. A caption description can be of various length. In engineering journal articles, they can be 4 to 5 lines in length. So what's important is that you have included all that you want the readers to know about the figure you show. Number 6. Whenever a figure is included, you should also introduce it in the body text. The introduction of a figure is known as a call-out. One way to call out a figure is using bracket C, SEE. For example, open bracket, SEE, figure 2, close bracket. If you have used the insert caption function, you can make use of another function called cross-reference. Go to References and click Cross References. Under reference type, choose Figure and then the figure of your choice. under Insert Reference To, choose Only Label and Number, and then press Insert. Cross-references are shaded in gray when the text is selected. Don't forget to mention annotation reproduced or annotation added at the end of the caption. Number 5. Generally speaking, a call-out comes before its figure and caption because it makes more sense knowing a figure will come later than, first seeing an unknown figure, then seeing its call-out, then going back to read the figure again, and then returning to where you left off. Now in this example, the call-out is displayed below the figure and caption. Therefore, we should move the call-out above the figure so that the reading flow can be improved, and the figure is now as close to its call-out as possible to enhance cohesion. Number 4. Figures should be used for a purpose, so we should avoid dumping them in the paper simply because they look good. I like to use CDC to help me remember what to do when using images. CDC stands for Centers for Disease Control and Prevention? Yes, but here it stands for Call Out, Describe, and Comment. In this example, we have the caption placed correctly below the figure. We have the figure placed immediately after the call out to enhance the cohesion, but the figure is placed immediately above new section. This is something we should try to avoid because there should be a discussion pertaining to the figure after the figure caption. And this is what we will do: describe and comment. Let's do a quick recap. CDC. Call out the figure and then display the figure and caption as close to its call out as possible. Then, describe and comment on the figure to create that discussion. This will allow you to end the section or chapter in a professional manner. Number 3. Every figure deserves its own space, so we should not wrap body text or captions around it. And I normally do not advise placing images side by side, but in some rare cases, side-by-side images can be beneficial if they are used for comparison purposes, like the one shown in my PhD thesis here. If you want to put 2 or more images side by side, try not to paste them in. My trick is to create a table, in this example, a 2x2 table, and drag the images to the top row cells. Then add A and B to the corresponding images and make sure they are resized to the same height. For the bottom row, highlight it and then right-click and select Merge Cells. Then type your captions there. After that, describe both A and B images in the caption in one sentence. Use a semicolon to separate the two neatly. Lastly, remember to always leave a line above and below for a cleaner look. When all that is completed, I want to replace figure 25 with figure 25A and figure 26 with figure 25B in the callouts, and then make sure that I call out the figures before I display the 2 images. The final steps will be to make the table borders invisible and maybe resize the images just a little more so that the A and B are placed right beside the images instead of below them. All done! Here, I have another example of side-by-side images using an invisible table. The caption is fine, but maybe I just want to center the images a little bit. So I selected the top row of cells and choose Center. You can also use Ctrl E instead. And I don't want the left image to show figure 1 because it is not the figure 1 in my paper. so I want to crop it out. To do that, select the image you want to crop, then up to the top and select Picture Format. And on the right side of the ribbon, click Crop, and you'll see corners and edges around the left image. Left-click and hold the thicker dash at the bottom of the image, and drag up until Figure 1 is no longer displayed, and let go of the mouse button. Now it looks tidier. Number 2. One thing we need to be very careful when using color images is mentioning the color in the caption or body text. It may seem harmless if I'm honest, and say that figure 19b has a red part. The problem is, your paper may not be printed in colors, and not every reader can see the color that you can. So if I now change the image to black and white, and leaving the caption unchanged, what will happen? Where is the red part? That's why I originally used the word shaded instead of red. However, the best way to do is mention both in the caption. This way, you will have both black and white and color printing well covered. In this example, I have created a diagram using mainly 3 colors: green, blue, and orange. To check if this diagram will still have good contrast when printed in black and white, simply select the image, then go up to select Picture Format, then Color, and look for Grayscale under Recolor. In this case, I am quite happy that my diagram still looks pretty clear in black and white. What do you think? Number 1. At times when you have a horizontal figure with a lot of details, like the chart that I have here, you might not want to display it on a vertical page. You should display a horizontal image on a horizontal page to show as many details as possible. To do that, create an empty line above the figure and below the caption. Then, go to Layout, Breaks, and choose Section Breaks, next page, on the empty lines. You should see that the figure is now isolated on a separate page, which is what we want. Next, go to Layout again, and this time choose Orientation, Landscape. If successful, you should see that only the page with the figure has the landscape layout. The final step is to enlarge your figure by dragging the corner of the diagram so that it fills as much horizontal space as possible. And there we have it! My top 10 tips for mastering the use of figures. Hope you enjoyed this video. I will share my top 10 tips for mastering the use of tables and equations in the next video. See you, and thanks for watching.